are back, and this is the start of round 7, and we actually are already on our way. Looks like our stream started just a tad delayed from the mainstream. So here we have Larissa on Amethyst Steel and Josh on Amber Emerald, and I am joined, how rude of me, with Kim. Hey, Kim, welcome back.
Hello, thanks for having me again. The Enchanted Sisters are back at it again.
Absolutely. And so here we have quite a couple of, deck pairings that we have seen throughout the day. So funny enough, Mateus and I just finished, I'm sorry, Charlie and I just finished streaming, and technically Mateus also, the Dog's Mirror deck. And now yet another Amethyst Steel, which I do believe we have seen a few from earlier today. So what are your thoughts on this matchup, Kim?
I don't know what it is. Every time I've come to cast one of these games so far, I happen to be lucky and get Amethyst Steel to be shown. So, I manifested, I say it's my favorite deck, and that's what we're getting. But yeah, this is a pretty interesting matchup. You would think typically that Amethyst Steel would be pretty favored in this matchup, just because they have so many removal options, they can challenge. What do you feel? How do you feel about this matchup here, Misla?
It is going to obviously depend on what is in each of these players' hands, but I do agree with you. Either of these decks can do what it needs to secure the wins here. So basically, on the Amethyst Steel side, as you said, they've got a lot of removal. But on the downside of most of these characters that Larissa is playing, and we'll actually see, is that they have a very low strength amount. So Josh is just loving that fact and will potentially see a Under the Sea or two come into play potentially if he's able to go ahead and secure a board state. However, just as important, he does have that all important Emerald Chromacon, which is able to send back one of Larissa's characters, or any character for that matter, when one of his are banished and during his during the opposing player's turn.
Exactly. I was about to say that Chromacon has to keep Larissa in check because sure, she may banish a character, but that just means that one of her other characters are going to bounce back into her hand, and that can be pretty complicated. I know for me personally, when I come across that, my brain is just going in circles, being like, what do I even do in this situation?
Yeah, so certainly the strategy with a Chromacon typically is to establish a wide board. Basically, what you're going to want to do is potentially quest as much as you can and then reserve some of your more beefier characters to then challenge in, and then see what your opponent does with that Chromacon trigger, and then apply some more pressure by playing additional characters with your unused Inkwell. So right now, Josh is just establishing more of his board. He's utilizing Tramp's ability to add 2 strength to one of his characters to be able to take out one of Larissa's.
Right, because yeah, um, that lady has an ability that while you, oh, never mind, never mind. Different ladies. There's so many different dogs in this deck that is so easy to get them confused because there's another lady in the Amber Emerald deck where if you play multiple characters, that lady will gain strength.
Yes. And so I believe we turned it over to Larissa. Looks like she's kind of squinting at potentially what we're deciding. I guess we're gonna quest. Okay, interesting. So we're not going to challenge into
Maybe
the
they're gonna play
lady.
a Tigger to bounce back the Captain Hook potentially.
Okay, so it looks like we have a black heron. I don't see what the other two are. Maybe Larissa's going to decide to challenge with the angel or utilize angel's second ability in terms of discarding to then cleanly remove the remainder of willpower that the exerted lady does have. Okay, so it looks like that's what we're doing. And now we're going to send back via Chromacon the angel to Larissa's hand. And so it looks like she's playing correctly, right? We're taking care of some of Josh's characters, trying to avoid any overexerting of the board and then possibly wasting our turn. So she is playing this correctly, and then of course bringing Angel back. And now that she has not used the ability on this time, she's actually able to use the 2 damage ability once again.
Right. I'm curious, Melissa, though, why she chose not to quest before, just at the potential opportunity or the potential risk of that angel could have been quest or bounced back to hand.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's funny as I'm giving her credit for not playing to the board. You're right. She probably should have been a bit more efficient in questing if she wasn't going to go ahead and challenge into the lady instead. So, really good call out there. Probably should have quested. And okay, so Nani finds a rhino.
Nice spot and under the sea in Josh's hand.
There sure is.
I'm sure we're gonna see that played sometime soon.
Yeah, but right now it's looking like potentially only that Captain Hook would be subject to it unless there is a potential Della's Moon Lullaby, and that would go ahead and decrease the strength of the angel currently on board. But I'm sure Josh would love to see that fire off soon.
It's tough to be in Larissa's position because the other thing too with Amethyst Steel is unless you tech for it, you don't typically have a lot of item removal either. We've seen some players so far today. I don't think we've seen any be played, but I have seen them in their hands play Benjas. But yeah, that is a tough position that this Chromacon is causing for Larissa.
Yeah. And so Josh is just going to continue to bully on that angel. I don't know if she quested this time around or what, but the strategy basically is if he continues to send back her highest cost character, that's really going to inundate Larissa in terms of being able to go wide on the board. So as you see, she's still at that 4 ink. So if she continues to play that angel, that's really restricting her. Instead, we're going to go ahead and play yet another 4 cost character in the form of Yzma. Now, Kim, tell us, what does this Yzma do?
This Yzma has an ability that you may exert her and draw up to 3 cards. Larissa currently has 3, so she may try to empty her hand next turn, to then utilize that ability, which could potentially help her flood the board. So to kind of just combat that Chromacon a little bit more.
Yeah, and I think that's going to hopefully, like you said, force her to start putting in some more into the inkwell to then be able to utilize that additional draw capability. And now we do have this all important tramp Street Smart Dog on Josh's side, which is a 7 cost character that now can sing together with either the Grandmother Willow or the Nani for and Under the Sea. However, of course, right now is probably not going to be the best time to do it, seeing as there is currently only one character in the form of Yzma, and of course, she is not eligible for Under the Sea in current state. So I'm curious, what is Larissa going to do? We certainly want to probably ink, play to the board, and then utilize Yzma's ability.
I haven't seen any Strengths of a Raging Fire yet being played by Larissa. I wonder if she's seen any yet, if it's currently in her hand. Possibly utilizing that this turn. Um, just to try to clear some of Josh's board here. Because if Josh keeps going the way he's going, he is just going to keep on progressing, and the dogs are going to get out of control here.
Yeah. And I'm glad that she does realize, and that she kind of did it with a chuckle. She's like, wait a minute, if I'm gonna, banish one of your characters here, let me not play to the board just yet. So we've got the Cheshire Cat. Oh, and a Pocahontas. Okay, so usually when I see this Pocahontas, I think a bit on the aggro side of things. However, seems a bit mid-rangey in terms of the characters we've already seen for Larissa. Okay, and we're going to decrease Pocahontas's um, strength and also Cheshire's with Rhino. And then there you go. We will effectively sing under the seat for both. Actually, let me see. Yeah, should be
Yeah,
both.
Under the Sea for both. The map is mapping here.
Yep. Yeah, so I guess Larissa wasn't sure. Maybe she missed the effect there for the Rhino trigger. But yep, so what better time to go ahead and, potentially stop that aggressive questing that Pocahontas could present for Larissa. All right, so we're sitting at three characters on Josh's side. We'll see how Larissa is able to respond, but the ever presence of this Emerald Chromacon is certainly spelling some trouble for Larissa, considering we have yet to see, or we don't even know, to your point, Kim, if she has item banishment.
Right. If she does, I'm sure she's hoping really badly that she draws into it, really hoping to see the Benja, because if Chromacon was not on the board, I'm sure Larissa would have been challenging left and right, clearing a bunch of Josh's characters, but that Chromacon, like I've been saying, just is keeping her in check and not really allowing her to have any characters stick to her board.
And Josh is just finding, all the right things. He went ahead and played that lady, Miss Park Avenue, and brought back two characters from his discard. I did see that one of them was the Tramp Enterprising Dog. Didn't catch the second one. However, still more cards in Josh's hand to flood the board even more. And, Larissa with the one character in the form of Genie, although he is evasive and a really great character, right now the board state's just not in Larissa's favor. Oh, but we did get a dock.
It is Dock o'clock here. Maybe she'll draw into the Strength of Raging Fire, but we are choosing to quest with the Genie, which feels pretty fair considering Genie is evasive, and I don't believe Josh is running any evasives in this deck, as far as we've seen so far, so it feels like a pretty safe quest.
And yet, what is arguably one of the best cards in the Amber Emerald Arsenal, this Nani stage manager that can filter through the top three cards of your deck for a character of 2 cost or less. And we're just going to flood the board with more ladies.
It's a very, very elegant side that Josh is running over here. So many ladies.
Very much. Now, let's see here. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So obviously we are presenting game on Josh's side. So I don't believe we have as many outs visible at the current moment on Larissa's side. Kim, what if this was you? Because I know you love your Amethyst Steel. What are you thinking right now if this was you?
If it were me, I might just concede. I
Oh,
just
there
don't
you
see
go.
it out. And granted, I think that's what's going on right now. Larissa just sees the writing on the wall and is like, we're done. Uh, I'm sure too. I can see it on the players' faces that we are pretty deep into the day. We are on round 7, and I can just already see the exhaustion here.
As we get some smirks over to the camera here from Larissa. Oh, I love that funny. Yeah, so we are only, I think, two more rounds after this for day one. So to your point, Kim, these are some very long days for anyone who may not have potentially been to a Disney Arcana challenge. These can certainly test your endurance during these matches.
Definitely. Melissa and I have gone to these Disney Arcana challenges together, and we'll meet in between rounds, as we get to the later parts of the day. We're like, girl, we're so tired, but we have to keep going.
Exactly. Yeah, we just gotta run on pixie dust, I guess, right? Sometimes we don't even eat during these things.
Definitely. They can be pretty long, very time consuming, but like very, very much use of brain energy. So it's always I always commend the Illumineers that are playing through all these routes. Because I know sometimes I'm just like, I can't do it. It is so long.
Mhm.
And right off the bat, Larissa, they are altering their hands. Larissa, I imagine, is choosing to go on the play here. Um, I am sure she's looking for that nice 1, 2, 3 curve Probably looking for as much removal as possible and really prioritizing more
Ooh.
those glimmers with high strength over willpower.
And she just flexed and said, I'm good. I don't need to alter my hand. So give me your best, Josh. And I don't know about you, Kim, but when my opponent says I'm good and they're on the play, I'm gonna start thinking twice about, how I need to start playing my hand. So this will be interesting to see what Larissa's got. Hopefully she's got that 1, 2, 3 curve, just like you
Oh, yeah,
said.
it is the biggest flex if you get to keep your whole hand. I can't even think of the last time I ever did that.
Interesting. Okay, so it looks like she did keep, but I understand sometimes you want to conserve some of these higher cost characters because they are inkable. So even though she won't be seeing Hades for quite some time, we went ahead and kept it for probably the secured ink ability of it.
Right, and I did see that Larissa drew into a Strength or Raging Fire, which I'm sure she must be so excited, especially if she has that 1, 2, 3 curve, can sing that Strength to remove one of Josh's characters later on, especially if you play something like a Grandmother Willow.
Yeah, and I'm actually glad to see that they do exist in her deck. So, really helping to potentially remove some of these characters that Josh may choose to keep upright so he can establish a long board himself to potentially be able to sing certain songs.
And I'm wondering too if Larissa is also just hoping, again, assuming that she maybe does run one or two benches in her deck, is hoping that she draws into those this game, especially if Josh, saw how successful that was last game and prioritizes playing that Chromacon this game.
Yep. And so, because we were able to play both the Grandmother Willow and the Tramp Enterprising Dog, we were able to give that lady enough strength to take out and banish that Olaf. Olaf's trigger, of course, not having any recipient. So we resolve his trigger. And now we're back to Larissa. Nice. And we fire the cannons, the Grandmother Willow. Fire the cannon sometimes can get stuck in your hand, but it's always good when you can cleanly remove a character from your opponent's side of the board, especially one that can help cheat some characters down on the board a lot faster. Oh
And
no.
there is the Emerald Chromacon.
So what's the strategy here now going forward? We have a Pocahontas on Larissa's side, Kim. What do you want to see now typically on what appears to be her turn 4?
Her turn 4, it is a bummer that she wasn't able to play a 3 strength or a 3 cost character, being able to sing the strength that she has in her hand. Um, but she does decide to play the genie and then boost it. Maybe Larissa's trying to pivot to a more aggressive strategy, especially because she has that Pocahontas in play as well.
Yeah, these two cards certainly love to see each other on the board. Every time you boost this genie, he's able to quest for the amount of cards under his himself, I should say.
Yeah.
And then Pocahontas just loves to kind of do a bit of a copycat, right? When she chooses another opposing, excuse me, exerted character and take and quest for some additional lore that they have.
Right. And so pairing those two together, I imagine, is a really strong strategy to gain a lot of lore potentially in one turn, which could force Josh to be more the one to try to challenge Larissa instead of questing
Mhm.
himself.
Mhm. And I think something that is of note as well, both of these characters on Larissa's side are 3 strength. So currently in their current state, not eligible for a Under the Sea, which is in Josh's hand. So unless paired with a hamster, excuse me, rhino, 1/16th wolf, or the Della Moon's Lullaby, these two characters will not be able to be sent underneath Larissa's deck. And we're boosting Genie once again.
And
We
Jeannie
are.
will quest for 3. And curious to see. And looks like she will quest with Pocahontas as well, gaining an additional 4 lore.
An additional three in addition to hers. Yes. So
Oh,
for
yes.
total four.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh no, is she singing?
No, or
Did she hard cast that?
yeah,
Interesting.
I believe she hard casted the song
Okay.
because she didn't play anything new and used the 3 ink in her inkwell to play Strength of Raging Fire.
Okay, an interesting thought process from Josh to send back that genie. Now, of course, I understand. Obviously, he's questing for quite a bunch, but that just threw some extra cards into Larissa's deck, and now she's able to see what she utilized to boost said genie. So, in theory, good for Josh that she's not questing for a bunch, but now good for Larissa because she's got quite a few cards in hand.
Yeah, and we see that Josh also plays Donald Duck, Perfect Gentleman. I absolutely adore this card because the artwork is it's just adorable. But that also gives the chance for for Larissa to draw even more cards because Donald's ability allow me as at the start of your turn, each player may draw a card.
All right, and then Pocahontas choosing the Tramp Enterprising Dog as the target for the additional lore for Pocahontas's quest. Ooh, interesting. And we have a Sven rushing in to banish Tramp. And we're debating on what we're going to use. And okay, interesting. We're going to send back that Sven. Interesting thought here. Which one do you think would have been better suited to send back? The Pocahontas? Or do we think the Sven was correct here, Kim?
In my opinion, I think it would have been wiser to send Pocahontas back to hand, just because she has been slowly gaining a bunch of lore. And then Sven, because he has Rush, if he's played again, he's just going to keep on challenging.
Yep. And there you go. So not only did we decrease Pocahontas's strength to two due to Rhino, we were able to then now banish her with our Donald Duck. So not so gentlemanly in terms of his action right now, but you know what? I'm sure Larissa still likes the fact that she can potentially draw off of him at the start of Josh's turn.
Right. And although Larissa does have many options with a full hand of cards here and could potentially flood her board, it might be just a little tough to catch up with Josh because he's also just continuing to build up his board as well. And because of the Chromacon, it just feels like anything Larissa tries to play potentially gets bounced back.
Yep. And you know what, Kim? Call me sentimental and nostalgic, but a good old grab your swords would just do the trick right about now.
100%.
But of course,
Going. Oh, go
not
ahead.
in core format. No, no, I'm just being silly. You go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say, going back to that Sven, which we know that she has in hand. That is so interesting because
Mm.
it's not in every Amethyst Steel deck. It feels very tech, and it might be something specifically tech for this matchup.
I would agree, but I'm also curious because I do believe the Sven is still in her hand, right?
Yes.
Why he didn't come out to banish the Donald Duck unless she preferred the draw from him. Typically, even though it's benefiting you, it's obviously benefiting your opponent just as much. And with this board state that Josh has right now, I don't know that I would have let Donald here stay on the board essentially, as Josh goes ahead and quests with all of his dry characters. And this is a pretty uphill battle, Kim. So, you know, being an Amethyst Steel player, we've got two characters on the board. These two characters represent some sort of aggressive strategies, of course, but when you've got your opponent with such a wide board, what are we thinking here from a player perspective?
Right. And a player perspective, it like you said, it's such an uphill battle. Yes, you can potentially quest for a lot, but especially with Larissa not being that much more ahead than Josh, just being ahead by one lore currently, and Josh's board being so wide, I think you really have to hone in and decide, hey, I need to start challenging and removing glimmers on Josh's side because otherwise this is going to get way too out of hand.
Yeah, so right now, if Jeannie were to quest and then Pocahontas, we would.
Gained 7 overall.
And then what do we got on Josh's side? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay.
So it could be actually not a bad idea to go a lot more aggressive requesting, seeing that now Larissa has expanded her board a lot more.
Okay.
And if
This
she
is
is questing for 7, then if at least three of those glimmers stick, I think that is game for her.
yeah. Okay. So the aggressive strategy paying off here in addition to going wide on the board. And I don't believe an Under the Sea would help so much. So now Josh on his turn will have to decide based off of his what he gets from the top of his deck as well as what's in his hand, what's going to be the best strategy for him to see if he can at least take this.
Right, because like you said,
Maybe
an Under the Sea would just not help unless he just drew into so many rhinos and Delamoons to be able to reduce the strength on all these characters. I think Under the Sea at the moment would only remove the Captain Hook.
now I didn't notice it unless you did. Josh did draw for the Donald trigger. I don't know that I saw Larissa.
Yeah, I'm not sure either, but it is a May ability.
It is a May ability, but just for the audience, we do always want to make sure that our opponent is aware of that trigger. So, seeing that Josh did go ahead and draw two, we always want to make sure that our opponent is fully aware of that ability, even though you are right, it is a May. And Josh just trying to decide.
Right, because unfortunately Josh does not present enough lore currently on his board state to be able to quest out for win. So he is in a very tough position of figuring out how do I remove essentially everything from Larissa's side.
The problem becomes unless he finds an Under the Sea to answer at least the Captain Hook, which is unexerted, Larissa will still present game on board, it seems, even if we're able to take out the Pocahontas and the Genie. And it looks like Tramp is going to help him sift through quite a bunch of cards 2, 4, 6, 8 cards.
Right, Larissa's face said it all. I don't know if you caught that
No, I
the head
didn't. Yeah.
tilt of just like, oh my goodness, you are digging for some answers here, Josh.
Quite a lot of Ursulas there. Okay, so did he find it? That is the question. Oh, interesting.
I don't think he
Wait,
did because he is
he is still searching.
continuously digging. You know, Melissa, I've always wondered this. Have you ever witnessed someone accidentally decking themselves out trying to dig um with this trap card?
Not in person or on stream. I'm sure someone has accidentally done it. However, I'd imagine those who have played this are pretty mindful of that. So, we're gonna assess pretty much what we have here on our deck. It looks like he's nowhere near that. But never say never, especially with the amount of cards the
Oh
player
my
is able to
gosh.
draw.
And he plays a third tramp, street
Wow.
smart dog, still digging for an answer here.
I mean, play to your outs, and that's exactly what he's doing. But this is actually, if I could say, lack of a better term, pretty impressive to have not seen
Found
it.
it.
Yeah.
And I don't think he did, but just like you were saying in the last game, body language says a lot. And he did the hand to the forehead, and I think that just indicates I didn't find the answer.
Hmm. Yeah, because even though, like I said, he can take these characters out. Oh, he did have
Oh,
it.
he did.
Okay. Look at him making a sweat over here with him. Okay, so good for him. So he was able to find it and then be able to take out the exerted characters on Larissa's side. So right now, unless Larissa already has a giant cobra in hand or finds it at the top of her deck, she will go to 19. Interesting that we're
Right.
still inking.
Well, she could be if she doesn't have it. I was about to
Oh,
say,
okay,
is
okay.
searching for it. So Doc, or I was imagining she was going to play a genie as well. Doesn't find
Oh.
it.
And